8 days until the Democratic primary runoff election, August 9th, and there is quite a battle when it comes to the Fulton County District Attorney's seat. Incumbent Paul Howard is battling opponent Fani Willis, who previously worked in his office as a deputy chief prosecutor. In the June 9th primary, Willis led with 42.27% of the vote, followed by Howard. A third candidate, Christian Wise, has since dropped out and endorsed Howard.
In an exclusive interview with 11 Alive's Naima Abdullahi, Howard talks about the close race. He also addresses a GBI investigation alleging he misused funding to supplement his salary.
Thank you so much for joining us. You are running again for District Attorney of Fulton County for the 7th time. You've held that position since 1997. How is this time different than previous times? I'm sure the state of the nation has changed and evolved, and our county has also changed and evolved.
We've got to do something about policing in our communities. The death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Rayshard Brooks, they've triggered a nerve in our communities. And I think this election is different because I think that what people are asking us to do, since the DA is the gatekeeper of the criminal justice system, is to become an important part of that change.
You are running against Fani Willis. She's endorsed by Atlanta Police Union and former Atlanta mayor candidate Mary Norwood. How do you guys differ from your opinion, and what do you think about her endorsements from the Atlanta Police Union?
Mary Norwood is inviting Republicans to take Democratic ballots and to vote in this election. I don't think that that's appropriate for the Republicans to try to influence an election. When the police union endorses the DA, what that indicates is that the DA will not prosecute policemen. And I don't think it's appropriate for DAs to accept endorsements or funding from police unions.
And during election season, we can always expect things to surface, right? With the GBI investigation that surfaced where there was an alleged use of nonprofit funds to supplement your salary. Let's also address that.
Be happy to, because this happened in 2014, I believe. I asked the chief appellate person in my office to tell me whether or not I could receive a salary from the city of Atlanta, salary supplement. And finally, I met with the mayor, asking them for a salary supplement from the city of Atlanta. They agreed that it was my work had justified my receiving it. So I don't really care about what form of investigation takes place. As long as it's truthful, I believe at the end, I would be totally exonerated, because what I did is what Americans do all the time. We ask for pay raises, pay increases, and that's what I asked for. That's what the city of Atlanta sent over based upon the work that I had performed for the city.
And that was Naima Abdullahi. So tonight on Up Late, Howard is going to talk about the Rayshard Brooks case. His decision to quickly charge the officer is something that drew a lot of criticism, whether it was a political move or the best decision. And later on this week, you're going to hear from candidate Fani Willis as well on our air as she discusses her campaign.